the fight for survival symbol of Uddhav Sena is now being played out in the Supreme Court. Neelashish, bring us up to speed with what is Team Uddhav arguing right now. We do know that it is about the fact that EC has gone with majority, but Team Uddhav is debating and doubting the definition of this majority.
Well, Priya, absolutely. Kapil Sibal arguing for Uddhav Thackeray's faction is saying clearly that, yes, the majority test was used, but the majority test was that of the legislative party. So what they're saying is that the ECI has erred in holding that there is a split, that the ECI has erred in relying upon the legislative strength of Eknath Shinde's faction. What he's saying is that as far as the organizational echelons of the party are concerned, the Uddhav Thackeray faction, in fact, has an overwhelming majority. The question here is the usage of the majority test in terms of it being a legislative majority test. Now, Kapil Sibal has clearly said that the ECI order is that in the test of majority, the organizational wing will not be taken, and instead it will take the test of majority in terms of the legislative wing. And that in itself is where the problem lies, is what Kapil Sibal is saying. He has also stated that Uddhav Thackeray's faction claims overwhelming majority in the organizational echelons, as I just pointed out, but the ECI's order is based on legislative majority. Now, the CJI, very interestingly, is asking Eknath Shinde's lawyer, Mr. Neeraj Kishan Kaul, that the ECI have applied the legislative majority test, and what can be done. Is that not still pending here? So these are the questions being asked at this point. Kapil Sibal, of course, is reading out a decision from the Election Commission saying that 40 MLAs backing Shinde got nearly 76% of the votes polled in favor of the 55 Shiv Sena candidates who had won their seats in the 2019 Maharashtra Assembly polls. On the other hand, Uddhav Thackeray's faction of 15 MLAs got 23.5% of the votes. Now, again, Kapil Sibal clearly reiterating this point that the ECI had dealt with legislative strength. What the basic crux of this argument, Priya, is for our viewers, that the majority test was applied and ECI erred in applying the majority test with regard to the legislative wing. When the majority test is applied, Uddhav Thackeray's faction says that it should be based on the organizational wing, wherein Uddhav Thackeray claims he has overwhelming majority. Now,
now for the benefit of our viewers, Neelashish, because legal jargons tend to get confusing. When the court says that how can we rely on the majority of legislators being cited as an argument in favor of Shinde, tell our viewers why that is a point of contention, because it relates to the other case, because there is doubt over disqualification of MLAs. There was a plea that is pending in court, the hearing for which is still due.
Well, absolutely. That hearing is continuing. There is, again, Kapil Sibal arguing that you cannot go by legislative majority because there are MLAs whose disqualification petitions are still to be decided. And therefore, if these people who could get disqualified, at least academically as far as the argument goes in law, how is it possible that the ECI goes ahead and takes that legislative majority into account while passing its decision? Now, what the CJI is asking, of course, is that the ECI has applied legislative majority test, and what their argument on this would be, because the CJI is also clear that, yes, legislative test of majority is what was applied. So how would Eknath Shinde's faction really respond to that? He is inviting Neeraj Kishan Kaul, in fact, to place his arguments with regard to this particular aspect of the contentions placed. Now, Neeraj Kishan Kaul, of course, is now rebutting that argument, saying that the recognition of a political party, the number of votes, the percentage of votes, etc., has to be seen. The entire argument has been that we have treated legislative party as separate, and so we can topple the government. It has never been our case that the legislative party is not an integral part of the entire party in itself. So they're saying, be it legislative or anything else, that legislative party is the integral part of the Shiv Sena in itself, and that is their case, that is their argument.